Welcome to Let's Get Into the Weeds, an introduction to cannabis for VCU students by VCU Recreation and Wellbeing. By the end of this webinar, you should be able to understand the impact of CBD and THC and different strains of cannabis, distinguish between Virginia cannabis law and VCU's Code of Conduct policy on cannabis, identify potential side effects from cannabis use in the short term and long term, and identify ways to stay safer if you choose to use cannabis. The 411 on 420. Cannabis has a lot of names, including weed, marijuana, hash, and more. In this video, we will refer to it as cannabis. What is cannabis? Cannabis is a dried preparation of the flowering tops or other parts of the cannabis plant, or a resin extract of it that is smoked or consumed. What does cannabis do? Cannabis is a psychoactive or mind-altering drug. Cannabis creates a high that impacts your emotions, perceptions, and cognition. Feeling high is associated with feeling happy, relaxed, silly, or sleepy. And highs may also lead to feelings of confusion, panic, forgetfulness, and delusions. Is cannabis addictive? The short answer is no. The cannabis plant itself is not an addictive substance. However, it is a habit-forming substance. And like anything, it can be used addictively. We know that psychoactive chemicals are not the only components of addictive behaviors. Too much of anything can lead to negative habits. Let's talk about THC and CBD. THC and CBD are cannabinoids from the cannabis plant, and they are responsible for creating the effects associated with cannabis use. THC is the main psychoactive compound in cannabis plants. It's responsible for the high that you might feel if you use cannabis. CBD produces many of the physical sensations of cannabis use, like feeling light and relaxed. Many people report benefits to CBD use, including reduced pain and nausea, preventing seizures, and easing migraine. Different strains of cannabis have different ratios of THC to CBD. Sativa strains have higher levels of THC. These give folks head highs and impact cognition, anxiety, stress, and other thoughts and emotions. Indica strains have higher levels of CBD and lower or same levels of THC. These strains may make you feel sleepy, cause tingling in your arms, and slow down your reaction times. Hybrid strains are unique. Each hybrid strain has a unique ratio of THC and CBD, and they generally have very high THC content. These strains can be more intense and cause unknown side effects because of the inconsistent ratio of THC to CBD. If you choose to use cannabis, consider what type you are consuming and how it will affect you. THC levels have drastically increased from the 1960s to now, from around 1% potency to 18% potency. The cannabis that people smoked and consumed in the 1960s and 70s was almost a completely different drug than what we see today. The impact of THC levels rising means that cannabis is creating stronger side effects faster, and folks may consume more than they intend to. Cannabis laws. Cannabis was legalized in Virginia in 2021, becoming the first state in the South to do so. But what does that actually mean? Do you know what is legal and what isn't? Here are the specifics of what is legal. Users must be 21 years old or older. It is legal to possess up to 1 ounce of cannabis. It is legal to use in a private residence only. While you can possess cannabis in public, you cannot use it in public. And cannabis use is not legal in cars or on K-12 school grounds, regardless of your age. While individuals over the age of 21 can share cannabis, it is not legal to sell, distribute, or gift cannabis in exchange for another service. And you can grow up to 4 cannabis plants in your home, but they cannot be visible from the outside, including through windows. So what are some consequences if you violate cannabis law? If you're over 21 and found in possession of more than 1 ounce, but less than a pound, you may be charged a $25 fine with no associated jail time. And if you are in possession of more than 1 pound, this is a felony, and felonies carry a minimum 1-year jail sentence. If you're over the age of 18, but under the age of 21, you may be charged a $25 fine. For more information on Virginia law on cannabis, visit www.cannabis.virginia.gov. Cannabis is against VCU policy. If you are watching this video because you were recently sanctioned for violating VCU's code of conduct, you probably already learned this the hard way. While cannabis is legal at the state level, it is still considered a controlled and illegal substance at the federal level. VCU receives funds from the Drug-Free Schools and Communities Act and can lose funding if they do not enforce federal law. That means that bringing cannabis on campus or using cannabis in any university-owned space is a violation of the Student Code of Conduct. Because VCU is an urban campus, it can sometimes be hard to tell whether you are currently on campus or off campus. If you choose to use, be mindful of whether or not you are on VCU property. This includes sidewalks and green spaces, as well as classrooms, residence halls, and other offices. Cannabis use is banned for student athletes and can result in serious consequences, such as suspension or termination from a team. The joint effects of cannabis. How does cannabis impact other aspects of your life? While you're considering whether cannabis does or does not have a place in your life, let's talk about how cannabis use impacts certain aspects of ourselves. First, how does cannabis affect our mental health and well-being? Does cannabis help with anxiety and depression? The short answer is no. Many folks with anxiety disorders use cannabis, and many who use cannabis report anxiety and panic attacks as a symptom of cannabis use. When used as a coping mechanism, cannabis may help relieve feelings of anxiety or depression in the moment, but it doesn't actually address the core issues at play. Cannabis use can negatively impact academics, relationships, and sleep, which also can increase feelings of anxiety and depression. While we don't have enough research yet to make a direct correlation, we know that mental illness and cannabis are closely linked to one another. Frequent use of cannabis can increase chances of psychosis, schizophrenia, depression, and anxiety, especially if folks have a family history of mental illness. Many people use cannabis to sleep at night. Cannabis can help with sleep in the short term due to side effects like pain relief and a sense of calm. This sleep is deep, but it's not particularly restful. Here's why. THC decreases the time spent in REM sleep, which is the time that you spend dreaming, processing emotions, and cementing memories from the day. So you might sleep, but you aren't getting enough restful or productive sleep that you need. Folks who use cannabis as a sleep aid often develop a tolerance to its effects, and this can lead to using more to get the same results as before. This leads to the following long-term symptoms: less sleep overall, less time in deep sleep, waking up frequently throughout the night, having a longer time to fall asleep, impaired memory the next day, and sleepiness the next day. Ultimately, if you are struggling to fall or stay asleep at night, using cannabis as a sleep aid may not address the root cause of your sleep concerns. When cannabis is mixed with other substances, like alcohol, the impact of one or both substances can become even stronger. Using alcohol and cannabis at the same time is commonly referred to as crossfading. This results in a stronger high, as well as some unpleasant symptoms, including sweating, dizziness, nausea, and vomiting. Crossfading can also reduce or delay feelings of intoxication. This is particularly dangerous because folks may feel okay and choose to drive or participate in other risky behavior, even when their blood alcohol content is over the legal limit. Pay attention to how much you are drinking. THC can minimize feelings of intoxication, leading people to drink more than they intended. Ultimately, folks who use both cannabis and alcohol typically consume more of both. It's important to set and stick to limits you set for yourself before you start using to avoid over-consuming. Cannabis and you. Let's take some time to reflect on your relationship with cannabis and whether cannabis use does or does not have a place in your life while you're a student at VCU. Remember, RecWell isn't here to say whether cannabis use is good or bad. We're just here to present the facts, plus tips and tricks to empower you to decide what's best for you right now. Consider the following questions. What do you want to get out of your time here at VCU? Do you want to get all A's, make your best friends for life, maybe learn a new skill? How might cannabis use impact your grades or your career plans? Maybe it already has. And how might cannabis use impact your social life and your relationships? If you use cannabis, does it help you feel closer to your friends or more withdrawn? Let's be blunt. When it comes to cannabis, there are good highs and there are bad highs. Just like with alcohol use, there is a sweet zone when you're going to use substances. Whether your high is good or bad depends on biological, mental, and physical factors. While a good high might have you feeling relaxed, silly, and social, a bad high might cause feelings of anxiety, paranoia, and delusions. A bad high kills the vibe. Here are some tips to avoid a bad high and stay safer if you choose to use cannabis. First, start low and go slow, especially if you're new to cannabis use. If you're smoking, give your body time to react between hits. Pay attention to how you feel with each hit and use this information to set personal limits. If you're using edibles, you might start with 5 or 10 milligrams. Edibles can take up to 2 hours to kick in, so resist the urge to take more right away, even if you aren't feeling anything. Eat food and drink water before, during, and after. Keep water nearby if you're smoking to reduce coughing and to soothe your throat and lungs. Stay with friends. Make sure that you choose a safe group of friends and a safe location to stay in, and stay in one spot while you're using. Set limits for yourself before use. It can be easy to get wrapped up in the moment and want to consume more and more and more. Ask yourself what kind of night you're planning on having and how cannabis can affect your night positively or negatively. Finally, know what you're using. Pack your own bowl, roll your own joint, and make sure you know what type of cannabis you're consuming so you can stay in control. Curious about how cannabis might be affecting your life? Maybe you're a little concerned about your own use? Consider taking a time out. Set aside a few days or weeks where you will not use cannabis at all. Let your friends know, or maybe find a few friends who will take a break with you. Taking a break from cannabis, even for a few days, can help avoid building up a high tolerance. We know that having a higher tolerance to cannabis can lead to higher usage, which increases your risk for adverse reactions and bad highs. During your break, pay attention to how you feel when you don't use cannabis. This is powerful information that can help you make an empowered decision about where cannabis fits in your life right now. Does this sound familiar? You're feeling stressed about an upcoming midterm, so you're looking forward to taking an edible after class. While the edible reduces your stress, it also makes you sleepy and lethargic, so you aren't able to study much for your test. The next day, you're stressed again because you didn't have time to study. If you're turning to cannabis every time you feel stressed, you are not alone. Cannabis has a reputation for being a great stress reliever. Sometimes, though, getting high may not be what you need right now. What are some other stress-relieving activities that you can add to your routine? When you feel stressed, you may reach for a joint, or maybe you go for a walk, watch a rerun of your favorite show, or try a new hobby like drawing or painting. Stress relief may look like speaking to a therapist about what's going on in your life. You can visit University Counseling Services at counseling.vcu.edu to learn more. Like any drug, frequent and heavy use of cannabis can cause dependence, health issues, academic concerns, and more. Here are some signs that cannabis may be a problem for you or someone you know. Ignoring your responsibilities. Giving up on activities that you used to enjoy. Changes in mood. For example, you're more irritable than you used to be. Changing friendships or pulling away from friends. Relationship issues. Changes in your sleep habits and in your appetite. An increased tolerance and maybe increased use. And the feeling like you're unable to cut back or quit cannabis use. Ready to make a change with your cannabis use, but not sure where to start? You have options. Get connected with a qualified therapist through University Counseling Services. Students can learn more and book appointments at counseling.vcu.edu. Not sure if therapy is what you need right now? Chat with a well-being coach through RecWell's well-being coaching appointments. Visit recwell.vcu.edu and click Wellbeing Coaching to learn more. Are you interested in joining a collegiate recovery program here at VCU? Rams in Recovery is here for you. Visit recovery.vcu.edu to learn more about meetings and events that they offer. Let's summarize everything we've talked about in this video. There are many reasons why people choose to use cannabis. We know that it has some positive effects and some not so positive effects. RecWell isn't here to say whether cannabis is good or bad. That's for you to decide. We want you to feel empowered to make a decision about whether cannabis fits in your life right now as a busy college student. We talked about THC and CBD and how different strains of cannabis have different ratios of THC and CBD. These strains may affect you differently, so always make sure you know what you're using. Cannabis is legal in Virginia for adults 21 and older. We talked about what is legal and illegal, and the potential consequences you may face if you break the law. Cannabis is still against VCU policy, so using or possessing cannabis on campus can result in a student code of conduct violation. If you choose to use cannabis, remember our tips for safer use. Start low and go slow. Eat food and drink water. Stay with a safe group of friends. Set and stick to limits. Take breaks from use, and seek out additional stress relievers. If you are concerned about your use or a friend's cannabis use, remember the warning signs and know that RecWell, Rams in Recovery, and University Counseling Services are here to support you when you're ready to make a change. Be sure to check out our social media, our Rams Connect, and our website to learn more about VCU RecWell and the many programs that we offer. Thanks for watching.